Hello everyone, it's Tess and today is Saturday, October 23rd. I'll give it a couple minutes and start my other computer up and see if anybody joins us on this Saturday night. Hope everyone's doing well. You might see a guest. I have a guest to the right. Although I guess not normally a guest, he's always around. So I'm trying to get my computer up to see if anybody's online with us. Oh, I see. I have somebody. Hello, whoever it is. Happy Saturday night. Hope everything's going well. We're just checking in to see how everyone's doing and if anyone's got any thoughts or comments or hopes or dreams or what everyone's up to these days. Let's see. The other computer is... There we go. I think I'm there. Yay. Okay, I can see comments now. So we just check in now. The challenge is not live right now. I don't know if the doc will be opening it in the month of November. Actually, I should probably check with him because oddly enough, next week is the end of the month. So he'll have to decide if he's going to open it up for people to get in for the month of November. I will say today's been a busy day. Definitely not a day that I sat by the sidelines. I've actually been in trainings more or less nonstop from, I had a 6-hour training course and then I had another hour training course and then we had Doc V this morning. So it's definitely been a busy day, but it's been a good day. It's been a productive day, a day to move me forward, which is what I think we all kind of want. I actually enjoyed being busy and moving forward than seeing how many movies I could get in for the day. It feels productive. I do see 2 people. I'm not sure who it is. It's not telling me yet. If you have any thoughts or comments, let me know how your weekends are going, what you're working on, any struggles you're having, any wins you're having. We'd like to share it all, everything, good and bad, good, bad, and ugly. And like I was saying, for me today, I actually signed up for a class thinking it was only 3 hours, only to find out that it was 2 3-hour sessions. So it turned into 6 hours today instead of 3. But that's okay. It's going to move forward into something else, and that's totally fine. I think that moving forward and being more productive feels better. It feels better to end a day. You know, I think a lot like we're always looking for an opportunity to move forward, an opportunity to get more out of life, but often we get to the end of a weekend and we didn't accomplish much. And then there's like regrets because we didn't get much done for the weekend. And we have to kind of live our life on purpose. We have to make sure that we're moving in the direction that will take us to where our dreams are. Now, it depends on what our dreams are. Are our dreams for something more than what we have today? Or are our dreams of existing going, do we want to stay where we're at and just maintain what we're doing? I think one thing that a lot of people are wondering, even if we want to stay exactly where we're at right now, what is that going to look like going forward? Because the world is a little bit different. Even in the idea of shopping, I'm not going to say anything more than I did some essential shopping this morning and I noticed a bunch of empty shelves, and that kind of surprised me, but it goes hand in hand with what we're learning about. They're not getting products to shelves as quickly. So like what the future is going to be is, in my case, I was actually thankful this morning. I'm like, boy, it's a good thing I had surgery because I need a lot less food than I used to need a few years ago. Again, I do see that there's a couple people on. I'm just not sure who it is. The one thing that keeps popping to my mind is something that was said in some training this past week, and it's, if you don't like what's going on in your life, then you're not living your life with purpose. And that sounds like kind of a harsh thing, but today, I guess I really kind of realized it because I got to the end of this day and it's like I started from a sprint and then I halted at a dead run because of so many things going on, actually even more than I realized, or I might have been concerned about it. But I think sometimes and we hear this a lot, like about even goal setting, we set up too much short term and not enough long term. And I think like even our weekends, are we making them count? Are we moving forward, or are we sitting by idle? And I was thinking about like today, I did a lot of training versus, because there's other, like we all want to enjoy life and we all want to do things to move forward, but I didn't choose to sit with the remote. Again, I am watching, and it looks like there might be 1 or 2 people on board. I'm just not sure who that is. So if you are on board, feel free to say hello. If you're not, then you can catch it on replay, or we'll talk to you another time. I am thinking about it. I don't know if the challenge is going to go open. We are 1 week away from, I think Halloween is a week from today. Let me double check this. How do we get to the end of October already? I'm not sure. A week from tomorrow is Halloween, so I'm not exactly sure what direction we're going to go in as far as opening the challenge. If you have not joined the paid challenge, this challenge group will still exist. And what you might want to do is kind of think about what direction do you want to go in, what kind of changes do you want to make, where do you want to be headed in the days and weeks and months to come. We know that if we just sit back and wait for life to happen, we're not going to head in a direction that will take us anywhere meaningful. And I think I got that today loud and clear. I'm working towards taking some training that will take me into a new direction work-wise. But some other opportunities kind of presented themselves that I followed through on. And what I was thinking about is that my life right now is very different than it was a year ago, even actually 2 years ago, probably more like 2 years ago. And a lot has to do with the thoughts that I'm using. Am I thinking in a way to make changes to go forward? And am I taking the steps to go forward? And what does your future look like? A lot of people are getting to an age where they may be looking at say, retirement. Oh, hello, whoever that is. I'm seeing some, it's kind of weird. I'm wondering if I'm dealing with what Doc V was dealing with at one time. I can see some little hearts and likes, but I'm not seeing people. But in any case, here I am. But I think if you do write comments, and I do see them, I will respond to them. I'm just not sure if I am seeing them. And what I wanted to say is, think about the direction your life is going in. Are you headed there? Have you taken any steps today to get there? As you go into a retirement, are you going to have a true retirement where what is that going to look like? Well, hi, Robin. It's good to see you. So I do see a comment from somebody. Yay. So hi, Robin. I know that for me, I've done a lot of work, like what is my work life going to look like in the next year, 2 years, 5 years? Because I'm thinking that as the world changes, I don't know that I want to continue to work in the way that I have been working. So that meant that I started some training, some of which I did today, which was one of my trainings. It was like 6 hours. And that will go on for Saturdays, probably for the next 2 months. But that's okay, because it's headed me in a direction. I think that prior to Doc V and prior to him helping us to see that if we're not headed in a direction that is meaningful and purposeful to us, then it's the decisions that we're making that are the block. We can't put the blame on somebody else if we're not moving forward, because it ultimately rests with us. If our weight loss journey isn't working, then something we're doing isn't working. It's kind of, we have to look inside with no lies. We have to be looking at what kind of energy we are, what kind of thoughts we're having, and are the things that are going on inside of us matching what we think we want to happen to the outside. And for me, up until I really got involved in this challenge, the answer was no. What was going on internally, what I was thinking, it didn't match what I thought the outside was. Now, I'm not going to say I 100% know. Well, hi, Vicki. It's good to see you. I'm not going to say I 100% know where the outcome is, but I know that I had to shift the inside, shift the way I thought, stop lying to myself, even and this is going to kind of sound funny, but in failing at weight loss previously, the lies I told myself really didn't even support where I was at. I put myself in such a place of negative thinking and negative thoughts that I didn't give myself a chance to succeed. I got stuck. And I didn't realize and never would have thought about that a lot of what was going on internally inside of me were lies that I was telling myself that prevented me from moving forward. And they're lies a lot of us don't even want to hear. We see it every day in Doc V's channel. Well, it depends on what topic he's talking about. Here we go. Robin's talking. I am thinking along those same thought processes that you are. I am my biggest obstacle. So having a roadmap to support positive change is a huge help for me. I agree, Robin, because I have a roadmap too. And I'm going to say, I know that I won't 100% be on that roadmap, but because it's a roadmap that's moving me towards something, I have a better shot of finding the right answer than if I just all of a sudden sit back and be a victim and let my thoughts push me away from it. A big aha for me today was just in this idea of training. I mean, huge, because, and it is kind of, this is funny, okay? I do jump in. I will say that, like, for the masterminds, Doc V has introduced a lot of us to, and for the trainings he introduced a lot of us to. I know myself well enough to know that if I sit with something for too long, I start to think about it too much, and then I turn away from something versus giving it a try. So when a couple of those mastermind opportunities came up, I jumped on right away. I mean, jumped on and committed to like 3 of them. All 3 of them haven't occurred yet because one of them got moved to next year. But I jumped on, jumped in, paid, and moved on because I knew that if I gave myself too much time to think about it, I would create reasons within me. And I think most of us live in that place where we create reasons that something's not going to work, that that's just not who we are. And I don't think I fully know who I can become yet. I just know that I don't have to be the person that I was if I'm willing to stop lying to myself and just to take a step, or just to stop being my obstacle and stop with the thoughts that are kind of limiting or are simply just not true. Historically, and I've said this before, but like Chris Nagel's had training and it'll be 3-day training. And sometimes I'll go into those weekends and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to give away my weekend, you know, poor me, poor me, poor me. But then I'll dig into it and I always get something out of those trainings. Today I went into, you know, Doc V had a big thing this morning. I couldn't even finish it. I'm going to have to catch some of it on replay. But then by 9 a.m., you know, he's on at 9 to 10 a.m. By 10 a.m., I had a training session start that I thought was going to be 3 hours, only to find out that what it was is 2 3-hour sessions. So it went until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Then I caught another one for a group that had a 4 to 6 p.m. thing, but I could only catch the hour of that. And then I'm on tonight. But what it makes me realize is when I step back, I'm like, but I was productive. I learned some things. You know, I heard something from somebody on the very last training, the 5 to 6 p.m. training, that kind of makes me look at, like, even, because I'm trying to learn about all things, like all things financial, all things health, all things, like what kind of exercise do I want to do? How do I want to move forward? Not in making an absolute plan, but just in having a direction to go in. And the more that I start to head in a direction, more information comes in and it fine-tunes the path. That's why I don't think we have to be married to the exact destination, but we have to be moving on the path, which kind of does coincide with what Doc V always says about shoot, then adjust, shoot, and then adjust. And more than ever, I've had to really get comfortable with doing that because I didn't do that before. And today was a perfect example. I can honestly say I might be a bit tired right now, but when I got through that last training, well, hi, Glenn, how are you? When I got through that last training this afternoon, I'm telling you, I'm up and walking with my mom at 5 a.m. I was on with Doc V when he went live. Then I went to that 6-hour training. Then I went to another hour of training. But when I got to the end of it, it felt good. It wasn't that I gave away my Saturday. It was that I gave myself a chance. I gave myself a chance to make tomorrow better than today was. And that felt good. Ready, fire, aim. Yeah, oh, Glenn, it's fire. Oh, well, ready. Yeah, he does say ready. Ready, fire, and then aim, re-aim. So it's always about moving forward. And that's where my obstacle always was. Like I mentioned earlier, that I signed on for a couple of events earlier this year. Probably it's been more than 6 months because 2 of the events have already happened and one of them got postponed. And the reason I signed up for them is that historically, I would talk myself out of stuff. I didn't have the money. I wouldn't fit in with the people. I wasn't ready for it. I would catch it next time. But the problem is next time never comes. So it's a step. Those were big steps for me. I mean, big steps to jump into 3 of those things because I'm more of, and this may not sound right because of me being live on here, but I'm more of the wallflower person. I'm more the one that watches everything that's going on. Then after I've thought about it for a year or 2, I jump in. I'm not historically one to jump in right away, but my life is moving better. My opportunities are presenting faster, and my life is getting better because I've stopped overanalyzing and I've just started taking action. I've started to recognize that I am my own worst enemy, and I'm my worst enemy because I've gotten comfortable. I had been comfortable just sitting where I was and thinking that it was okay just to sit there. I now know that I'm more passionate and more happy about moving forward. I'm totally okay with the fact that today was 7, 8, 9 hours of training. That's okay. Actually, that's what I thought. I'm like, man, this day went longer than a work day did. But the difference in it is, it was in moving myself forward to something else. It was about getting myself ready. Hi, Karen, good to see you. It was about getting myself ready for something more. I know that if I didn't start making changes, if I didn't start pursuing other things, if I didn't start trying to learn, I know what was waiting for me, and it was burnout. It was burnout from a job that, so many people, and maybe in this case, the younger generation has it right. And my nephew and my niece both talked to me about this at one point in time when I was contemplating making a move, probably about 5, probably in a period of 10 years, I moved jobs twice, which is totally uncharacteristic of me. But they told me, you need to be loyal to getting yourself in a position to have better jobs or to have better opportunities for financial. And what I realized is that even in my case, it's even more than just having a corporate job. What is the retirement years going to look like? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the economy. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that I went essentials right after I did my 5 a.m. walk with my mom this morning. I did some essential shopping, picked up from them and me. And when I went into the stores this morning, much to my surprise, I was shocked how many shelves were empty. And it wasn't toilet paper. They had plenty of toilet paper, but a lot of other areas were empty. They just, there was nothing on the shelves. Or you could tell that there had been, stuff there, and there were signs that there had been prices, but it was empty. That may have to do with what we've all heard. California, at one point I had heard, and this is just what I heard, there were 50 boats that needed to have deliveries made. I had the same job for 33 years. It has definitely a changed horizon since then. See, Robin, and I could have succeeded and continued to stay in the same job. Yeah, Karen's got the empty shelves too. And what I don't want myself or anyone else to be, I live in the area of Motor City where this is the auto industry. And they always called, like, the guys who always had what was considered the best jobs, which were the line workers at like Ford's, GM, or Chrysler. They are always paid well, but they always referred to it as gold handcuffs. Those guys had gold handcuffs. So they were totally handcuffed to a job because they made decent money. And then if they got overtime, it was double time, triple time. So there was a great financial reward for them. But what ended up happening is that they totally became dependent upon this one thing. because they didn't have diversity, and many of them actually still lived paycheck to paycheck, no matter what this looked like. But what ended up happening is it created what everyone around here referred to as the gold handcuffs. They actually had these great jobs, but they couldn't balance their lives because they were always at the mercy of, do you want me 24/7? And then what if they extended themselves out and got the rental homes and the cars, but yet the overtime disappeared? So what happened is they got into a pattern of a job that more handcuffed them or owned them than they managed what was happening to them. And I realized that even though I wasn't in a union type job and I wasn't in a line worker job, I had that same mentality because I kind of grew up in that mentality. And I grew up in I've got to do whatever my employer says. I can't step outside of the box. This is who I am, and I'm just this one little box. Well, none of us is just this one little box. All of us have other opportunities if we're willing to open our eyes and to stretch out. I've started more than one business. I've been training for what I want the next stages to look like, because in working with group with Doc V, I want to be a laptop entrepreneur. I want to be, if there's an event going on, I enjoy the first 2 events that I've gone to so much that I don't ever want to miss one. So I want to be able to work in a way that lets me pursue all these other avenues. All of the things that I learned today, or the training that I got involved in today, prior to joining this challenge, I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have done because I had it in my head that if I was doing things on the weekend, I was giving away my personal time. I never saw it as the opportunity to create the future that I truly wanted. I had the wrong thoughts in my mind. I didn't see that I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. I felt handcuffed to what I was doing because I needed to make a living, and I felt like there was no other way. But now, opening myself up and understanding that doing a little bit of work on the weekend, or even today was all day long for me. I mean, all day long, from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. It was all day long. But it gives me hope for what tomorrow can be different. It gives me hope that if it comes to a point in time, and this should be true for all of us right now, I believe the market, and you can see it around, is turning to an employee market instead of an employer market. So with that going on, there is a shift. I can see a shift even in how my employers are treating everyone. They're starting to understand that the marketplace is going to turn out to be where we can work for anybody across the world, because everything is done via internet. I mean, even this training I'm doing, I didn't leave home because it was online. But, and I'm going to say this 1 6-hour training I did, it was amazing, the interaction, because if anybody wanted to teach online, they should be modeling them, because it actually even had interaction. Like, she'd go, okay, now we're going to ask this question. Use the annotations at the top and put a little check mark, or there's a little thing where you can click it and it says your name, that you picked a certain thing. So they actually probably every 5 to 7 minutes make sure you're interactive. When they give you breaks, they would do surveys and you had to answer the survey. And what they did is they were taking attendance all throughout this class, because you will be considered, you can be considered for an employee of this organization that I'm training with right now, if you complete the training. But that's how they're monitoring to make sure that you're doing it. Oh, see, Robin's saying empty shelves in Florida. So we know New York, Florida, Michigan, everywhere is starting to see empty shelves. I don't want to send out everybody to be crazy concerned, but if there's something you need, you want to pick it up sooner than later, because there seems to be, what I've heard, and I don't know all the details of it because as part of the challenge, we don't listen to the news, but I have heard through different things that at one time, they keep 1 to 5 ships off the coast of California to be unloaded. Somebody had made a comment. I don't remember exactly who it was or where, but there were over 50. I don't know if that's still true, or if they're starting to get rid of that, or if it's getting bigger. But I think it's impacting all of us. So I'm not even labeling it COVID, although what created the issue may have started because of that, but it's different now, because I think not only me, but everybody, like they're saying, there were so many people who had to look for a different way to work during COVID, which is kind of what I'm doing, that they've already placed themselves somewhere else. So they're having to backfill all these jobs of people that maybe either burned out from doing the work during COVID or shifted to something else. But we're going through a shift right now. And you get to decide if you're going to stay put where you're at or if you're going to change what tomorrow looks like. And I think most of us, if we're in this challenge, we want to change what tomorrow looks like. And that's what I want to do. I want to change what tomorrow looks like. I want to, I don't want to feel, because the type of work I did, kind of like you were not allowed to take vacation during 45 days after each quarter end close. You weren't allowed to take vacation in the first 3 months of the year. You weren't allowed to, there were a lot of rules to it. And there's part of me that's going, I did that for many, many years. I followed the rules. My second computer went out, but I want to make sure I can catch comments. I followed that pattern for many years, but I don't have to anymore. Doc V, all of you guys have shown us, we've all shown each other ways that it can be different. And that means we have to look at what we're saying to ourselves and what are we really willing to do to make tomorrow different. Am I going to end up not working? No. But am I going to end up working in a way that is more pleasing to me? Yes, because I want to be mobile. I want to be, as a bariatric person, as a person who struggled with weight, as a person who has a BMI of 60, I missed a lot of things. I missed a lot of things because I was too tired. I missed a lot of things because I didn't think I would fit. I missed a lot of things because I didn't think people really wanted me there. Now that I'm this person, I don't want to miss any opportunities. And I want my, somebody said it perfectly to me, and I wonder if I have that. I have it right here. But I want my work to fit into my life. I don't want my life to fit into my work anymore. I want to shift. And that's what I'm working on right now, is I'm taking training on nights. I'm taking training on weekends. I'm setting up these plans, like I get up and I do the same routine in the morning only because it gets me up and going. Never before, if you had told me I'd wake up regularly between 4 and 5 a.m., I would have told you it wasn't possible, but I do. But I do because it feels good. And part of it helps that I am meeting somebody every morning and we walk, whether it's in my basement or outdoors. But the pattern is established and I'm seeing a new future. Yeah, see, Robin, work to live, not live to work. And it's true. My work has got to stop. It's got to stop that my life fit into my work and that my work has to fit into what I'm planning. I gave it away for years. I'm not willing to do it anymore. And I think, we criticize the younger generation a lot for being mobile, but I'm seeing it differently now. Like when I sat down and I talked to my nephew, he's like, he goes, Aunt Titi, why, they call me Titi, Aunt Titi, why, he goes, why would you be loyal to somebody who's not loyal to you? He goes, as kids growing up, he goes, we watched, and he goes, you have to take care of you. And he said, really, and this is true too, I'm gonna attest to this. When I moved jobs, because I've moved in the past probably 15 to 20 years, I've moved jobs. Now what that caused me to do is to be sharper because I had to learn something new faster and try to adjust to a new way of doing things. Because even if it was the same type of work, every company looks at it different. Every company has their own little acronyms for the same type of items, but it forced me to go through a learning more frequently. What I found is, and this kind of blew me away, but I've seen it even in my own job right now. There are people that have been there for 35, 40 years. They trained me for a new program that came on board when I came into this company. And I was going to be gone for like 4 days to go to New York. And the person that trained me in this said, I'm all worried because if you're gone, who's going to answer? And it was a very simple question. Very simple question. And I thought, how can you be the person who trained me and not be able to answer a simple question? And what it made me realize is that I think that when you get into that kind of a routine, one of two things happens. You either become so routine you can't see to make things better, or you become so routine that you get dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped on, and you become so overwhelmed that you get burned out faster. So I'm seeing that it's unfortunate I didn't learn at 20 years ago, but maybe through the guidance of them, I started making moves in jobs back then, because I'm right now in my I'm in my third job, and this would be over the course of 17, 18 years. I've had 3 different jobs. But I realize now when I'm looking at it is that it is that lack of belief in ourselves. It is that comfort. The people, I used to say, wow, wouldn't it be great to be at a job for 30 or 40 years? But I saw what it did to the people that were in my family that were the line workers for many years. Or I see what it's doing to people that I work with right now that are, they feel stuck. They feel like that at this age in their life, they can't do something different. And I'm grateful that I took the opportunity to start making some changes some years ago, because now I see that I'm not too old to make changes and that I have the ability to learn something new. I can remember the first time I moved into a different job after so many years. I can remember the fear of thinking that I wouldn't be able to learn it, that I wouldn't be able to figure it out, that I wouldn't be any better at it. But what I've realized is that in putting myself in a position where I have to learn something new, where I have to research something new, where I have to do something that I haven't done, or learn to do it in a way that somebody else does it, has made me a stronger person and a stronger employee and stronger advocate to finding what it is that truly makes me happy. So I guess that's what I would say for everyone. Think about where, here's Robin. I had the same job for 33 years. It is definitely a changed horizon since then. And that's what I was thinking is that it's easier to continue doing everything that you've ever done, but you'll never get that magic moment if you don't step outside, struggle a little bit, and see a greater sunrise. I was starting to fall into that pattern, and Doc V helped me to come out of it. I think that's why some of us struggle and we backslide on our weight loss. I want to do some research on that national registry that I found recently. There is a link and you can join it. And I'm going to ask Doc V if he's actually familiar with it. But it was a national weight control registry, and they monitor people who have lost a large amount of weight for more than a year. But ideally what they're doing studies on is people that have lost a large amount of weight and kept it off for 5.5 years or more, because they're trying to look at the patterns that allowed that person to keep the weight off that long. Well, that kind of intrigues me, because I am a person who lost over 100 pounds and gained it all back. Then I had to struggle again to get to this place now. And when I lost it the first time, when I started gaining it back, I gained more back to a weight much higher, probably, I want to say it was probably at least 50 to 60 pounds higher than what my highest weight was before I lost the 100 pounds the first time. So understanding, I guess the good thing is I've never given up enough to not keep trying. But what I didn't recognize in the previous journeys that is different this time is that I was never willing to let go of maybe like the processed foods or getting more water in. I would always be that person, like Doc V tells us, that I can't do it. That's just not me. I at one point thought too, well, if I could just get under 200, or if I could, I had all those thoughts too. But what this group has allowed me to do is to smooth away all those thoughts and jump into something that's not comfortable, to know that I'm actually excited. I don't care how old I am if I continue working and I'm doing something that's my passion. And I know, we all know, we are our passion projects. But if I can do something that gets me jumping out of bed every morning, because we all know, for those of us in the Pay Challenge, we know that Doc V was retired. He was a director of bariatrics at Lovelace, and he retired. He has now come out of retirement, but he's looking at creating a life that satisfies him. And that's what we all want to do. Create a life that satisfies us. Create a life that the work we do, it doesn't feel like work. Create a life that is, it fills you with drive. It fills you with positive feelings, and it fills you with hope. It fills you with hope. Like I said, today I spent probably 7 hours in training, maybe more than that. But at the end of it, I sat back and I was proud because I knew I got something out of it. And some of the work, some of the stuff I did today, if I hadn't got involved in the challenge with Doc V, I never would have pursued. The training that I'm doing right now that I may work for them too, that is something I thought about for years, but never thought I had the energy to do it on top of a full-time job. I don't know why I thought that, because I've worked multiple jobs for most of my adult life. But it's our talk that we're saying inside of ourselves. If we don't like what's going on in our life, if we're not living a life that gets us excited to get up every day, then we are not living our life on purpose. We're living our life as a victim, but not on purpose. We are not living the life that feels good. We are not living, we are fitting our life into our work, fitting our life into everything that doesn't feel good. And we've got to create the life that feels good and fit everything else into the life that feels good. I think we will produce more, we will solve more, we will feel good, and maybe we will influence some of the people around into feeling good, because there are too many people right now in this world that don't feel good. And we can see that in, I don't even know, every day there's some road rage, and the road rages nowadays include gunshots, screaming and yelling in stores, and people, I just walked into a Sam's Club one day and just simply walked up to a register. The register next to me opened and I started to walk over, and the guy behind me only had 2 items. I said, you can go ahead of me. You have just a couple of items. So as he slides over, some woman comes up behind and starts screaming because he's not walking fast enough. And I'm like, boy, there's something the matter with all of us if we can't hesitate for like 15 seconds. And then she looks to me to like support her, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. Because sometimes you just don't want to engage in that because it just draws you into it. But think about, are you living your life on purpose, or are you letting your life happen to you? Since I've joined this challenge, I can get better, and I'll try every day to get better, but I'm living my life on purpose. I'm living my life so that my life is the center, and that I'm putting things into my life instead of, and for me it was, here is my career, here is my job, and then I try to fit life in, try to fit family in. But that's not how I want to live the rest of my life. I want to be the best that this person can be, and then fit into the best that this person can be, and create something amazing. Create something that can make me proud and excited and energized to get up every day. And what I'm finding is it does energize me. I think that focusing on this person right here and healing this person and making this person the best I can be, and figuring out how life fits in, and how I can improve the finances to fit into this life, how I can build this picture better, is the reason I'm still losing weight 5.5 years out, is the reason that I broke a 2-year weight loss stall. It's the reason that I have a hope that I never had before. I don't want to keep this going forever, because I know, again, I've been talking a lot. I came on tonight going, I don't know if I can talk, and inevitably I can always find a way. But what I want to say is, if you have a few minutes when you're meditating, are you living your life on purpose, or are you letting everything come at you and your life kind of fell by the wayside and you're not really focusing on it? Are you living your life on purpose? Are you making this person the best person that it can be, and then bringing in the things that support what this person's supposed to be? I didn't. Not until I got into this challenge. I didn't understand how to do that. And I want that for you guys. I want you to be able to take the time to find out who this person is and what this person may be here to do, and then fit the things into your life. I think too often we aren't living on purpose, and we're just like that material that they throw the little sticky balls on, and everything sticks to it, and you're just trying to figure out how to make it fit into something. We have to kind of stop. We have to live our life on purpose. find this center of this person and then figure out how work fits in, you know, how your volunteer passions will fit in. How is your finances fitting in? How can you change your work? How can you know, do you want to change your work? What can you change to fit in to what the core of this is, that you're living on purpose? And that was hard for me because as a child growing up, I still believe this, doing for others and caring about others and helping others is passion for me. But I got into it in a way that I thought that having passion for other people meant that I couldn't have any passion or compassion for myself. I didn't see, yeah, here's Karen. Some people just exist. I agree. We need to live our life on purpose. And, you know, we see, and how many times have I picked up the books? I'm sure that, I know there are some. I know because I just got some of these experiences. Like I moved, all of my books now are the books that I've been gaining since Doc V, like up here on the shelf. And you'll know all these titles, like The One Thing, Seat of the Soul, The 4-Hour Work Week, Second Chance, the Dalio book, the Creature from Jekyll Island. All of these are the things I've been learning about. I'm even going to get into the speed reading like Doc V says because I want to consume more. It feels good. But what I recognized is that I did not, when I was trying to give to other people, I did not understand that I had to live my life on purpose. Because when I healed this part and I lived my life on purpose and invited in the things that fit, then I was providing better to try to help other people. Because it is back to that same thing. We all know the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. But we've got to get to the core of who we are so that we can repair that cup if it's chipped or if the handle fell off. And that's the part I always missed, is that I thought that this part, living my life on purpose, would happen naturally if I was reaching past myself to someone else. I didn't understand that I've heard it a million times, the work starts at home. But I, for some reason, got it in my head and lived my life that if I was fixing out here, this part would naturally fix. And for me, and I don't think for many of us, we have to do the work to fix this. It won't fix automatically. What ends up happening if we reach out and we don't work here is we burn out. But if we take care and we live this life on purpose, as we reach out to other people, we don't get burned out. I think that burnout and that frustration and that despair and that anger happens because we haven't fixed this, we haven't healed this, we haven't learned to live this on purpose. Once we get this right where it's at, nothing down that road is going to burn us out or frustrate us. You know, we're all going to have a moment here or there, but generally our life will flow better. We will feel better. And I know that's the area that I've been working on. And I will say at the end of a day of a lot of training, I felt really good. And I'm like, what's different this time? Why is it different? Why am I so excited after spending all day long, like 6, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours on a day that should have been nothing? And I'm like, that's what it was about making this life, living this life with a purpose so that I can bring in and I can reach out in the ways that will truly help keeping the passion alive, keeping the excitement alive. The passion and the excitement and all of that comes in when this part is done on purpose. When you really come in touch with who this person is, and when you live with a purpose, then everything else feels good. Everything you add into your life feels good, and it drives you to do more. And I saw that today. It drove me to do more because I am living my life on purpose. Oh, thank you, Robin. And that's what I want. And if I feel like if I'm as honest as I can be with you guys, it's being honest with myself too. And I needed to look at that today because I really sat back today and I'm like, how in the world? Because I got thrown on 3 hours, totally unaware. I signed up for this class and I truly thought that it ran from like 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. And all of a sudden she goes, okay, hour break, be back here at 2 for our next session. And I'm like, what? What did I sign up for? I've got something going on from 4 to 6, so I had to figure out how to fit it all in. But you know what? It was okay because at the end of it, it felt good. And that's when I realized it's this. This has to be together. And when I have this together and I bring the things in to my life on purpose, then I feel good, energized, and I'm better at being there for the other people that I want to be there for you. For living on purpose lets me to be more for myself and for all those around me, because it lets me live in that passion, excitement, and all those positive moods and emotions. That's the place we all want to live, because life is much prettier there. So I'll take a card from my niece and nephew who sat down with me and said, you can't follow the same path. Sometimes you have to learn something new. Sometimes you have to find something different. And it doesn't matter how old we are. We can find out who we are in the core and then bring the things into our lives so that we can truly share at the maximum of what we have to give. That's my wish for all of you. If you have any thoughts or comments, let me know. I appreciate you so much, and your support means more to me than you'll ever know. You guys gave me the courage. Well, Dr. V pushed me to do this, but you guys give me the courage to keep doing it. And I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. Have a beautiful, beautiful night, and thank you.